Election day is here. We'll make sure that you're prepared if you still need to vote.
That's right. Plus, what referendums you will see on your ballot and how they'll affect taxes.
And we're live with why Dane County plays such a significant role in who Wisconsin chooses for the next president.
Plus, we'll tell you what you need to know when heading to the polls.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on this Election Tuesday. I'm Kyrian Lee.
And I'm Chris Stanford. Thank you so much for joining us for our special coverage this morning. You know, I've never been hounded so badly before an election to not only make sure that I vote and to ask who I've been voting for. I mean, the parties have just been zeroed in on Wisconsin, making sure that everybody gets to the polls today.
It's a big one. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, we're definitely making spotlights everywhere.
Man.
So we're going to get you up to date on what you need to know because the weather is going to be impacting us today.
You saw our field crews out there with their umbrellas in hand because we are going to dodge some showers today if you're headed out. Savannah Brito is on the patio this morning. Savannah, what's going to be the best time for folks to get out to the polls today?
Guys, I would say the early morning hours. They open at 7 a.m. That's going to be the best chance. Yeah, you might need the rain gear because we're still expecting isolated to scattered showers across the area in the early morning, but that conditional severe weather threat, that's going to move in by mid to late morning and last through the afternoon. Otherwise, I would say the best time 6 to 8 p.m. up until the time that those polls do close. But yeah, there is an alert day because of the threat of severe weather, and that does include brief and weak tornadoes. We'll talk about why that's the case in a minute. Mild, a little muggy though already this morning. I'm not wearing the jacket because it's cold outside. It's very warm, mild for this time of year, but just because it's windy. And then also because the rain is still falling pretty steady here across Dane County. Strong winds and then, like I said, brief and weak tornadoes are going to be possible. That's for southern and central Wisconsin midday through the afternoon. I'll put a specific timeline on the rain, the storms, when that's expected to move in. And we'll also talk about why we could see a lot of wind shear and rotation with these storms coming up in just a bit, guys.
All right, Savannah, thank you. Folks, you want to track those storms yourself? Just use the free First Warn Weather app. You'll be able to track those conditions all day long. Get it wherever you get your apps. Well, Election Day is here, and this morning we're breaking down the important information to help you prepare.
We have team coverage this morning. Our Michelle Renee Quinn is live at the Dane County Municipal Building with last-minute reminders. But first, we start with Josh Breiter, who's live at the City County Building in Madison with where things stand right now in the race for the White House. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, big day here. Your Election Day headquarters, of course, for the city of Madison and Dane County. We know Madison is one of the most liberal cities in the country, but Dane County as a whole is one of the most liberal counties across the U.S., and it's also one of the fastest growing counties right here in Dane County. And the people moving here tend to vote for Democrats. This opens up an opportunity for a party desperate to win a state that narrowly picked President Biden in 2020 and narrowly picked Donald Trump in 2016. Turnout in this region has been sky high in recent presidential elections, a reflection of the Democratic Party's ground game in Dane County. In 2020, 89% of registered voters in the county cast ballots. So we know Dane County bears a big weight on the official results in Wisconsin. And the methodology of polls has evolved over the years to give us more accurate data. Right now, the latest Marquette Law School poll shows Vice President Harris leading slightly in Wisconsin with 50% over former President Trump's 49%. Compare that to 2020 when the final Marquette Law School poll before the November election had Biden leading with 48% and Trump at 43%. So much closer this time around. The New York Times says the 2022 midterms were some of the most accurate polls in years. However, we saw in 2016 that nearly all state-level polls underestimated former President Trump. So a lot to watch here. And remember, there are 10 electoral votes at play here in Wisconsin, which is part of the so-called blue wall states with Michigan and Pennsylvania. So both candidates are really trying hard to get these Midwestern states. And we'll be watching to see if the weather is going to play any role here in the Midwest with the rain and the wind today. We'll be talking here in about 10 minutes with the City of Madison Deputy Clerk about what they're seeing and any last-minute advice. But in the meantime, Michelle Renee Quinn is live with what you need to know if you're heading off to the polls later today. Michelle Renee, good morning to you.
Josh, good morning. Yeah, as people head out to the polls, I've got a few reminders, and the first one is that the doors open at 7 a.m. That is less than an hour away now, so be sure you are getting ready and getting out there. They will close at 8 p.m., but as long as you're in line by 8 p.m., you will still be able to cast your vote. Now, in order to vote, you do need to be registered, and you'll need a proof of identity. That's any valid photo ID, including your Wisconsin driver's license, military or photo, school ID, and or a passport. We want to also mention that Wisconsin DMV locations are extending their hours today. Service centers will remain open until 6 p.m. tonight, so you can request a free ID card there, which you can then use to vote. If you are not yet registered to vote, you still can. In addition to bringing that proof of identity, you'll need to provide a proof of residency to register. So that includes utility bills or bank statements. All proof of residency must include your name and your current residential address. Now, we're going to be out here all morning keeping you guys up to date with what you need to know. For now, in Madison, Michelle Renee Quinn, News 3 Now.
Sure, a lot of people are thinking they're lucky stars that they voted early. All those early votes cast for situations just like this. All right, Michelle Renee, Josh Breider, thank you for that. Let's get to the races down the ballot. Race for U.S. Senate now. Democratic incumbent Tammy Baldwin is running to keep her seat against Republican challenger Eric Hovde. Voters first elected Baldwin into the Senate in 2012.
In 2018, she beat challenger Leah Vukmir by the largest margin of victory for any statewide race in Wisconsin that year. Hovde is a real estate executive and bank CEO. He also founded the Hovde Foundation with his brother.
The city of Madison is asking voters to increase the property tax levy. Currently, the city's operating budget has a $22 million deficit. If this referendum passes, property taxes on the average house will increase by $230 a year. If it fails, city services are at risk of being cut. Those include reduction to Metro bus service, as well as library hours of operation for public libraries.
Other cities in the area are going to referendum. That includes Fitchburg, Monona, and Middleton. If Fitchburg's referendum passes, then residents would see a property tax increase of around $240 per year. In Monona, the impact to a median Monona home would be taxes of $713 annually. Now, the city of Middleton is proposing an increase in stormwater utility rates, and your vote will determine whether to approve a new rate of $23 per quarter or revert to the 2018 rate of $3.75 per quarter.
Let's get to the school districts. Madison Metro Schools has a couple of questions on the ballot today. The first one asks for $100 million. That's the operating referendum to keep up with rising costs and help fund staff and programs. The second question asks for $507 million. That would help renovate or replace 10 schools within the district.
There are many other school districts going to referendum this election cycle, and they include Mount Horeb, Janesville, Sun Prairie, and Wanakee. So remember, you can get a look at your referendum questions at myvote.wi.gov. All
right, another big race on the ballot today will be the race for Dane County Executive. This is, of course, former Dane County Executive Joe Parisi's spot. He retired back in May. It came after more than a decade of serving in that position. So, State Senator Melissa Agard and the Executive Director of the RCC Sexual Violence Resource Center, Dana Pellebon, are going head to see who will replace Parisi. All right, here at 6:08, we have a lot to talk about this morning. So one of our reliable political experts is joining us again this morning, Professor Mike Wagner with UW-Madison. Good to see you again.
Good to see you both.
Yes. So just going to jump right in here. So what is something that you're going to be really zoning in on today during this election?
Well, in Wisconsin, we'll be looking really closely at voter turnout in Dane and Milwaukee counties, but also the WOW counties that surround Milwaukee and the Bow counties up a little bit further north. These are all places where the election could really hinge upon in terms of who's showing up and whether particular blocks of people are trending toward Trump or trending toward Harris.
Who do you think has the momentum right now, the Harris campaign or the Trump campaign?
Right now, it looks like the Harris campaign has momentum. The last few polls in Wisconsin have been in her favor. The door knocking in Wisconsin, the kind of the field game, has really been in her favor. And so whether those things translate to a victory, we'll find out in the next few days, probably.
And taking a look at that Senate race, I know that's been real tight too. What What can you tell us about that?
That is a little bit closer than most folks thought it would be. Hovde has had ample resources and has been a very hard-fought campaign. He has a chance. Baldwin's still the favorite, but that's a closer race than we expected.
All right. How do you think both of the presidential campaigns did with messaging? You had two totally different campaigns. Mentioned earlier, Donald Trump, it was over 720 days ago that he announced that he was running in 2024, and Harris has been going for just a little over 100 days. How do you think they've done up to this point? I mean, the campaigning is pretty much done with. How have their messages been?
Their messages are very consistent with who they are. Harris has been very disciplined and has kind of stayed on message her whole short campaign time. And Trump has done what he does, which is kind of change the subject every time something comes up that he doesn't like, but really still consistently hammering immigration and inflation.
All right. Professor Mike Wagner, we want to thank you for joining us, and we'll check back in with you in just a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's check in now with Savannah. What's coming up?
Guys, we're still tracking some rain on the radar. We'll talk about the severe weather threat that's coming up.
And our team coverage continues this morning live on this election day. Just after the break, we're going to be talking with the City of Madison Clerk's Office about what they're seeing this morning and any advice if you're heading off to the polls today.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Brought to you by Toyota.
Dear sharp curves, don't spin your wheels. Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand. So you can bet your bottom dollar that we're sharper than ever. 'Cause we got traction, baby. Yours, Toyota sedans.
Right now, lease a new 2025 Camry for $299 a month. Or lease a new 2024 Corolla for $219 a month. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
I'm running for the Senate because I love our country, but sometimes I don't recognize it anymore. What is right has become wrong, and what is wrong has become right. Politicians like Tammy Baldwin have led us down the wrong path. It doesn't have to be this way. We can lower the cost of food and medicine, close our border, and stop the flow of deadly drugs. Let's work together to restore the American dream and give our children a brighter future. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
Bye, loves.
Sometimes it takes a different approach to see the possibilities all around you.
How are the girls?
They're amazing, Dad.
As a Capella University nurse practitioner student, you'll learn the advanced skills you need to face the nursing challenges of today and tomorrow. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University.
Todd Novak is a compassionate and independent voice for us in the Assembly, but Elizabeth Grobby will tell any lie she needs to get herself elected. Grobby's dishonesty about Todd Novak is shameful. The truth, Todd Novak passed legislation protecting exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, and voted to expand access to birth control, not ban it. It's time to reject the desperate and ridiculous lies from Elizabeth Grobby and her radical allies. We deserve better. Todd Novak for Assembly.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
And the punishment is real. Women denied care, unable to get pregnant again, traumatized, scarred for life. Young women who didn't need to die. Now 1 in 3 women live under a Trump abortion ban. And if he's elected, everyone will.
There has to be some form of punishment.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Need inspiration to start your home update? We've got the wood, carpet, tile, and luxury vinyl during our Beautiful sale, and the interior design staff to help you define your style. Save right now at H&R Carpets and Flooring, Wanakee.
The kindness, the efficiency, the respect was amazing.
From start to finish, they will take care of you.
I never hesitate with family, friends, neighbors to recommend Cardinal, and nobody has come back to me and said I was wrong.
Tammy Baldwin has our back. Tammy broke the law to make sure American projects were made with American iron and steel.
Thanks to Tammy Baldwin, my daughter's inhaler is now only $35 a month.
Tammy's Dairy Business Innovation Act has helped us hire more workers.
Tammy Baldwin's leading the charge to restore Roe v. Wade.
Tammy Baldwin fought like hell to save my retirement.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
To have someone in Washington that's got your back, oh man, that's gold.
Back here at 6:14, our team coverage on this election day continues as we're here to keep you in the know all day long on News 3 Now.
Josh Prider is live in downtown Madison with the messages from local election clerks. Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, less than an hour until polls open here in the city of Madison and across the state of Wisconsin. So we have a lot that we're watching here this morning. We want to get an update from local elections officials. This morning we have the deputy clerk for the city of Madison office joining us, Jim Vervik. Jim, good morning to you. Good to see you.
Good morning. Happy election day.
Yes, here we are, and a beautiful day with that, with the rain falling. Is that a concern at all going into election day that we're seeing these conditions?
Yeah, I would say not terribly. I would say the important thing for voters is to make sure to keep their ballots dry when they vote, to not jam up our tabulator because it can cause issues. So just be aware of where you're putting your wet umbrella when you walk into the polling place.
So sometimes it's those little things that could make a big difference in what you guys are trying to do.
Correct.
What kind of advice do you have for those voters that have waited until election day to cast their ballot?
Yeah, Wisconsin's a same-day registration, election day registration state, so you can register at the location, you can vote, you have to go to your specific polling place. We can't go to any library like you could for in-person absentee voting, so if you need to register, bring a proof of address, whether that's your Wisconsin ID or driver's license if you're a Wisconsin person, or bring bank statement, paycheck stub, any government document will work. And then you bring your voter ID, a Wisconsin ID or driver's license, passport, military, tribal ID, things like that.
Are you seeing any big differences here in 2024 versus 2020 as far as early voting numbers?
Yeah, I would say our shift from 2020 to 2024 is we had it seems like almost all mail absentee. For 2024, we're seeing a lot of that mail absentee go to in-person absentee. So it seems like we got about the same number of absentee ballots, so they just changed the way that they came in.
Are you expecting another high turnout here in the city of Madison?
Absolutely.
It's something we've been seeing more and more, especially here in Madison and Dane County. Because of that impact here in Wisconsin, that's something that you guys have to be watching closely.
Yep, that is correct.
You know, as far as election security goes, you know, what are you guys focusing in on? Because obviously, you know, times are a little tight, people are a little on edge. Is there anything that you guys are going to be monitoring more closely than you typically do?
Not really. We've asked our election officials at our polling places to be on lookout for anything that may be suspicious. We've asked the police department, we've given them all the locations of our polling places. They have contact information for everyone, for someone at each of the polling locations. So we're ready if we need to respond to anything. And so we want to make sure our polling places are safe for our voters and our election officials.
And you guys obviously put a lot of time and effort into making sure that everything goes smoothly on election day.
We do. A lot of people see the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot of work that goes into it before we get to this point.
You know, when folks are out and about at their polling places today, obviously it takes a lot of volunteers to help you guys really make this day happen.
Yep, yeah, we got at least 4,000 folks around the city that we're working with today. So not just at the polling place, we also have rapid response people that help us fill in any needs we not, keep track of how many absentees we process throughout the day. We don't do central count in Madison, so we process all the absentees at each of the polling places, and we want to make sure that we're processing them as fast as we can so we're not up here super late.
Yeah, speaking of that, how quickly do you expect to have results here within the city of Madison at least?
Yeah, I think it all depends on how quick we can get those absentees processed. I don't expect all of them to be waiting to I don't expect all of them to not have their absentees processed by the time the polls close. Hopefully, they're either at or near completion of processing their absentees by the time the polls close at 8 o'clock.
Big day here in Madison.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. I always appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Of course, News 3 Now is your election day headquarters. Everything you need to know in our 3 for the People branding right now on channel3000.com. And coming up in our next half hour, we'll be speaking live with Scott McDonald, the Dane County clerk, about what he's seeing county-wide. So a lot to watch here this morning, guys, and our live coverage will continue.
All right, Josh, thank you so much. We'll check back in a little bit.
All right, got a little bit of a lull in those showers out there, Savannah.
Yeah, we're going to continue to see that isolated to scattered at best for the next couple of hours, but right now on radar, most of those very spotty showers are near Evansville, southwest and northeast of Stoughton, near Cottage Grove, and just to the north of Madison, southeast of Wanakee. So there still are a few little spotty showers this morning, not really producing a downpour by any means, but the severe weather risk for later in the day. We did go with an alert day yesterday for today solely because it's election day. And with the late year fall kind of feel with that chance of severe weather later in the day, mid to late morning through the afternoon, severe storms are possible. Rotations possible, and we do have a brief and weak tornado threat. That's also one of the factors on what led us to go with alert day conditions. As the cold front does move closer to the area, Severe weather chances, basically Madison northward, that's where the best chances, where that red or darker red color is in the warm sector. Because of the cold front inching through, we don't have a lot of storm energy, but with a lot of wind shear, anything that latches on ahead of that cold front could quickly become rotational, which is why we have that tornado threat, and the biggest threat along with that, damaging or strong winds. So this morning, just some scattered early morning showers. That's going to continue up until about 9 a.m. What happens between 9 and 11 a.m. is really going to depend on how later plays out. So we could still have some stronger storms that form in the area between 9 and 11 a.m. But if we see a break in the rain, that would actually lead to a destabilization of the atmosphere and our severe weather ingredients, and just the threat of severe weather. That would actually increase our threats for later in the day, roughly about 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Once the sun sets, our threats of severe weather quickly are going to diminish. Temperatures fall and dew points fall. But we do have moisture to work with, and we do have a great chance of wind shear. That's why we went with an alert day. 67 today. We're down to 43 tonight, though. So temperatures, yeah, they're going to fall pretty quickly, and then we're down to 53 Wednesday. We will warm, though, back into this upcoming weekend.
All right, Savannah, thank you. Still a lot to track this morning on Election Day.
Yeah, we're going to talk with the chair of the Wisconsin Democrats about the final push when we come back.
First Warn Weather, keeping you ahead of the storms.
I'm Joan Balwig, and I'm here to set the record straight. I support birth control, the life and health of mothers, extending postpartum care, and fertility treatments, including IVF. I'm Joan Balwig. I have always fought for Wisconsin moms, and I always will.
I think we're probably spending too much, throwing too much money on our southern border.
Last month, fentanyl killed my childhood friend. Drugs and criminals are pouring into our communities because Tammy Baldwin voted to open our border and defund our police. I moved here from New York to protect my family, but Tammy's bringing her New York values to Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin is dangerous.
I'm Eric Hupty, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
I, Kamala J.G. Harris, do solemnly swear.
Kamala swore an oath, but Kamala created crisis after crisis. Our troops murdered, an open border, crime in our streets, skyrocketing costs, assassination attempts, Americans abandoned during disasters, and we're on the brink of World War III. A broken oath and a broken America. Kamala can't be trusted in the Oval Office. Vote for President Trump and save America. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. They raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I approve this message.
We found out our baby had severe fetal abnormalities and that my life was at risk. But Wisconsin Republicans' extreme abortion ban forced us to leave the state to get the care that I needed. It was a nightmare. Eric Hovde pushed to end Roe v. Wade. And in the Senate, Hovde would give Mitch McConnell the majority to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of women like me. What is wrong with these guys?
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
All right, we are back here at 624. We invited the heads of both of the main political parties to join us here on News 3 Now this morning. The state chairs from Wisconsin Dems and the GOP Wisconsin Party to join us. And we got Democratic Chair Ben Wickler to join us this morning.
Yes, that's right, Ben. Good morning. How is it going?
It's good. This is it. This is Election Day. If you know anyone who hasn't voted yet, this is time. It's time to text them. It's time to call them. It's time to offer them a ride to the polls. And if you haven't voted yet, the polls open in about 37 minutes. So make a plan to go and vote early today.
Absolutely. Okay, so Ben, first question just here. So what has the campaign season looked like compared to 2020? Like, I know it had to be a lot of difference.
It could not possibly have been more different. In 2020, the only outdoor political rally that I was a part of involved everyone sitting in their cars and watching on stage. And I would say, "Who here's ready to vote?" And everyone would honk the horn of their car. That's what it was like at the end of the Trump era. That was the beginning of a massive crime wave. That was a disastrous pandemic. We had 60% more deaths in the United States than our friends in Canada did because we had a president who completely failed to deal with the crisis when it hit, and we were in economic freefall.
Right,
and
we got about
four
sorry,
years.
Ben. We got about 45 seconds here before we wrap up. We're trying to cram you in here. I apologize for that. I wanted to ask you if Harris loses, if the AP calls the state for former President Trump, what is the party's plan, and will you accept the outcome?
We will absolutely accept the will of the voters, and we call on our counterparts in the Republican Party to do the same. This is a democracy.
All right. Ben Wickler, Chair of Wisconsin Democrats. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
We're back right after this.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Hey there, Madison. Dina here again. If you have a plumbing emergency, you need the RHD Dream Team difference. Call us in the morning and we'll see you the same day. If it leaks, bursts, or freezes, you need the RHD Dream Team. We remedy your disaster fast. That's the Dream Team difference.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
The problem with Todd Novak? He voted with his extreme party leaders 100% of the time, like voting against lower prescription prices. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion in Wisconsin, with no exceptions for rape and incest. Todd Novak is with the extremists 100%, and he's hurting Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights, get more police funding, and bring down costs. Elizabeth Grabe for Assembly.
Shop the largest selection of Chevy trucks and SUVs in Wisconsin at Bergstrom Chevrolet. Lease a new Silverado 1500 starting at $355 a month, or a 24 Equinox EV starting at $279 a month. Stop in or shop and purchase at BergstromMadison.com.
Don't miss the 35th Annual Winter Art Fair off the Square, November 9th and 10th at the Monona Terrace Convention Center, featuring over 100 Wisconsin exhibitors with a wonderful selection of ceramics, paintings, glass art, wood, jewelry, and much more. Place your bids at our silent auction Saturday only. Children will enjoy the Young Collector's Corner. Buy local for the holidays. The Winter Art Fair off the Square. Put it on your calendar today.
My name is Jack Frank. I'm a retired paper mill worker in the valley here, and I work for Copus and Bus part-time on the side. I've had my own route now here for the last 3-4 years, and the kids on it are great. Flexible hours, they work with you in many different ways. If you've got something going, they accommodate you, or they try to get somebody to run your road. Copus treats you decent. You know, all the years I worked here. It's a great place to work.
Everyone has their own idea of what fitness means to them. Here's what it means to us. We believe fitness can be more than exercise, that it can build a better tomorrow. It can change how you feel. It can build more than muscle. it can build community. And no matter what your reason, the common goal is simple. It's for a better tomorrow. Join us for a better tomorrow.
Election 2024 reaches the finish line, and News 3 Now is your local source on election night. Our team brings you continuous coverage today on WISC-TV, Television Wisconsin, channel3000.com, and channel 3000 Plus.
They say the kitchen is the heart of the home, but one look at this mess proved this love affair was over. If outdated, worn, and no wow factor describes a room in your home, you need the RHD Dream Team difference. We'll be on time, on budget, and fabulous from design to installation to put the heart back into your home.
Election Day 2024 is here. We're breaking down the critical information so your vote counts.
Plus, we're taking a look at all the races key to our viewing region, how they could affect the balance of power at federal and state levels.
We're live with how Dane County could play a pivotal role in the race for the White House.
Plus, what you need to know when heading to the polls.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to News 3 Now's special coverage of the 2024 election, our Three for the People coverage. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Kyrie Unley. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. We have about 30 minutes left until those polls open here across the state.
Yeah, keep in mind, a lot of places out east have already been voting for an hour, or about a half an hour or so. So we've got a full day of coverage, a long few days ahead of us. But for anybody planning to vote today, a lot of people have voted early, but for those who haven't, there is some rain to contend with.
Yes, it's an alert day on top of Election Day, so we have a lot going on. Let's check in now with meteorologist Savannah Brito, who's going to get us up to date. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, guys, I want to reiterate we did go with an alert day yesterday because it's Election Day and with the severe threat this late in the year. Also, a brief and weak tornado threat possible for southern and central Wisconsin. That maroon color that includes Madison and Dane County and the northward up to that warm front, that's where the best chance of severe weather is going to be midday through the afternoon. Winds are going to increase, gusty winds outside of any severe thunderstorms that we could see, gusting up to 40 miles per hour. So it'll be pretty windy, and like I mentioned, we have that isolated tornado threat as well, just because we have a lot of wind shear to work with. So storms will could quickly become rotational, especially those ones that form along and ahead of that cold front. That's for southern and central Wisconsin. We'll show a timeline and when those storms are expected to move in coming up.
All right, Savannah, talk to you then. Folks, if you are headed out today to vote, make sure you've got the First Warn Weather app with you. It is free. You'll be able to track those conditions and time out your plan just right. Find it wherever you get your apps. Well, now that Election Day is here, we are breaking down everything you need to know in this final day of voting.
We have team coverage this morning. Our Josh Sprider is live at the City County building in Madison. He'll tell us what role the county could play in the big races today. But first, we start with our Michelle Renee Gwynn. She's at the Dane County Municipal Building with some last-minute voting reminders. Michelle Renee, good morning.
Hey team, good morning. That's right. As residents head out to the polls this morning, I've got a couple reminders. The first is that polls open at 7 a.m. That's in less than a half hour. It's less than 30 minutes away, you guys. Polls will be open until 8 p.m. and as long as you're in line by 8 p.m., you can still cast your vote. Now, in order to vote, you do have to be registered and you will need a proof of identification. Now, that could be a valid photo ID, including your Wisconsin driver's license, military or school photo IDs, or a passport. We also want to mention that Wisconsin DMV locations are extending their hours today and service centers will remain open until 6 tonight. You can request a free ID card, which you can then use to vote. If you are not yet registered to vote, you still can. In addition to bringing proof of identity, you'll need to provide proof of residency to register to vote. That includes utility bills or bank statements. All proof of residency must include your name and current resident address. Now, on this election day, we are keeping an eye on the big races, but we are also looking at the impact of Dane County on the official results. Josh Sprider is live now in Madison with where we stand right now with the race for the White House.
Michelle, Renee, good morning to you. We're outside of the city-county building where city and county leaders are ready to go on this election day. Dane County is one of the fastest growing counties in the country, not even just here in Wisconsin. And they also historically have one of the highest voter turnout rates across the country. So Dane County could play a pivotal role in the official results for the presidential election. That's why we've seen such a focus here locally from presidential candidates. As far as visits to Dane County, Vice President Harris has been here 2 times since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee. You'll remember former President Trump made history back in early October when he became the first Republican presidential nominee to visit Dane County since 1996. He stopped in Wanakee that day, rallying area Republicans. Of the more than 3,100 counties across America, political analysts say Dane County is one of 7 that could tell the story of the 2024 election. President Biden carried Wisconsin by just over 20,000 votes in 2020. Compared to Hillary Clinton in 2016, Biden earned 42,000 more votes in Dane County alone. Republicans also saw an increase of 7,500 votes 4 years ago as well, when they backed former President Trump. Again, back out here live at the city-county building, we expect to hear from the Dane County Clerk, Scott McDonald, here in just a few minutes about what he's seen on this election day, if the weather is going to have any impact at the polls, and any last-minute advice that you need as you are casting your ballot on this official election day here, guys. I know a lot of folks are anxious. A lot of folks are ready for this day to be over for a lot of reasons, especially those commercials that we've been listening to for quite some time.
Yeah, it's been weighing on us all.
Oh, the phone calls, the text messages, the mailers, they've just been relentless. And yeah, it's all about today. So Josh Sprider, appreciate your coverage out there. We'll talk to you throughout the morning.
We are also tracking several key down-ballot races.
We start in the U.S. Senate. Incumbent Senator Tammy Baldwin looking to keep her seat for a 3rd term. She's facing a competitive challenge from Republican businessman Eric Hovde. Hovde previously ran for Senate in 2012. He lost in the primary to former Governor Tommy Thompson by about 3%. The race this year, though, could go a long way in deciding which party controls the Senate in Washington.
In the House, incumbent Republican Brian Stile is facing a challenge. He's up against Peter Barca. Stile first won election to the House in 2018. Barca previously served in the House from 1993 to 1995. More recently, he led the Wisconsin Department of Revenue for 5 years. The winner will represent the state's 1st congressional district. This covers the southeastern portion of the state.
In the 3rd congressional, this covers a lot of western Wisconsin. Republican Derek Van Orden is hoping to keep his seat for a 2nd term. He's a retired Navy SEAL. Going up against Democrat Rebecca Cook. She is a former board member of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation.
Now to some key races in the state legislature for Wisconsin's 14th state Senate district. Republican incumbent Senator Joan Ballweg is running against Democratic challenger Sarah Kieski. Ballweg first won election in 2004 in the 41st Assembly District. Kieski has worked as a licensed professional counselor for the past 24 years. Now, this district encompasses several counties in the northern part of our viewing region.
In the 32nd State Senate District, this region encompasses La Crosse and surrounding towns. Democrat Senator Brad Pfaff is campaigning to keep his seat. He's up against Republican challenger Stacey Klein. Before being elected, State Senator Pfaff led Wisconsin's Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection. Klein served as the GET school district. She was on the Strategic Planning Committee and the COVID Advisory Committee.
Time now 6:37. Let's get some analysis on the big races here. Joining us this morning is Professor Mike Wagner from UW-Madison, one of our reliable political experts. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Mike, I want to ask you about the polls. Donald Trump tends to outperform the polls. We showed a graphic earlier where President Biden in the last Marquette Law School poll was up 5. He barely squeaked out a win. Harris is up by 1. How close are the polls going to be today?
Well, this is the one that matters, and so I think it'll be very close. But what's peculiar is that it could be an extremely close election that takes several days for us to know who won, or the polling could be shifting in one direction all at the end, and it could be a more comfortable victory for one of the 2 candidates, and we'll just have to see.
And so when it comes to Wisconsin, are you really zoning in on what the polls are going to look like here?
I'm more paying attention to where voter turnout is high in key counties. So like you all were saying before, Dane County, Milwaukee County is super important for the Democrats. Republicans holding voters in the suburbs around Milwaukee is going to be really important as well. Where the college towns across the state, I think the counties where those are also going to be important.
Okay. Now, do you see this as it's a true test of our electoral system, the system as a whole today? Do you see this as a referendum almost on the state of our elections and how we operate this country? This is the institutional systems in place.
I see it as more of a referendum on whether we can accept the verifiable truth as citizens in this democracy. Our system in Wisconsin is exceptionally safe, exceptionally secure, and exceptionally well run. It's just whether people believe the evidence.
All right.
And when I was saying, just taking out just a comparison to 2020, how has this been different for you, just analyzing this election versus 2020?
So different in that the cycle was really short. We had one person running for president with the Democrats, you know, in the early summer, and a new candidate that took over since. And so it's been a remarkable campaign season.
Yeah, just completely different. It's just wild what's happened in 4 years. You know, I asked you 2 years ago during the midterms how important Wisconsin was going to be in 2024, and boy, I don't know, it's in the spotlight once again, just like you thought. So we appreciate your expertise. We'll be checking in with you throughout today and tomorrow. So buckle up. Here it goes. Right.
That's right. Yeah, the path to the White House runs through Wisconsin.
Sure looks like it. All right, Professor Mike Wagner, thanks for your expertise. Appreciate it. So if you want to keep up with all the races, we got you covered tonight. News 3 Now, channel3000.com. We'll have all your election coverage. It starts right here on WISC-TV at 6:30. With CBS News, and then at 7 o'clock, our all-local coverage of the election will start on Television Wisconsin. You can see the channel numbers at the bottom of your screen. Also available at Channel 3000 Plus. We'll be on throughout the night covering the races that matter to you. We'll also have analysis from political experts like Mike, several of them on the slate for our coverage over the next couple of days. And our election teams are going to be scattered across the state at watch parties. We'll bring you the reaction to those results as they come in.
Slowing things down just a little bit right now. Let's check in with Savannah. What's coming up?
Guys, we have an alert day in the forecast. Strong to severe thunderstorms are possible across both southern and central Wisconsin. We'll show a timeline of when those storms are expected to develop coming up.
And our live team coverage continues on this election day when we get an update from the Dane County Clerk. That's when News 3 Now this morning continues.
The other side is lying to scare you. Truth is, Joan Ballweg is a champion for women's health care. She fought hard to expand health care access for postpartum moms and supports access for IVF and birth control. We're voting for Joan Ballweg because she votes for women like us.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. They raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
We count on gasoline to power our cars, our tractors, our way of life. So why is a city slicker from Miami, Elizabeth Crappie, okay banning gas-powered vehicles? Extremists like Crappie want to eliminate fossil fuels, robbing hard-working families, farmers, and small businesses of their vehicles. Miami Liz's radical ideas hurt our families and our main streets. Don't let Crappie get away with it. Born and raised right here. Todd Novak is our independent voice for common sense, protecting our way of life.
When did you know Eric Hovde was wrong for Wisconsin?
Well, that's easy. When he said that people like me were going to die soon, so we shouldn't be able to vote.
Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
When Hovde said overweight people should pay more for health care.
When I heard he wants to raise the retirement age.
When I heard he's completely against abortion.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. He's not for us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
Well, happy Election Day 2024. We're unfortunately tracking alert day conditions that are going to be possible later in the day. So if you can get out and vote early, do so. We're still tracking a couple of spotty showers, so you will likely need the rain gear. Spotty at best south of Fitchburg, southwest of Madison, near Cottage Grove, and then also just southwest of Lake Mills, at least early this morning. Aside of that, a good time to get out and vote, I would say 6 to 8 p.m. because our severe weather threat is going to greatly diminish once we see that sunset basically after 5 p.m. Might see a couple still spotty showers after that point in time, but nothing that would be severe. So let's part this out, kind of put this into play when these storms are expected to move in. Aside of the morning showers, we're really watching that time frame between 9 and 11 a.m. Spotty showers still going to take us through those morning hours, but if we see a break in the rain between 9 and 11 a.m., some clouds clear out, that would actually increase our severe threat at least slightly for later in the day. That would be with that warm sector, and then ahead of that cold front later in the day, mid to late morning, and then through the afternoon. However, if we see widespread heavy rain, that would diminish our threat. That's why it's a conditional severe weather threat, but we do have a chance of seeing that isolated tornado, brief and weak tornadoes, along with strong and damaging winds. So that's why we went with an alert day, with it being Election Day and the threat of tornadoes, again, brief and weak, but still there for later in the day. So this is one of our weather models showing some decent rain still in the area. This is 9:30. So that scenario probably diminishing our threat for later in the day, with some clearing not necessarily taking place and some heavy rain moving back in. So nonetheless, we're still tracking very heavy rain, where we could see upwards of a ½ an inch up to maybe 2 inches of rain. So the big thing is going to be also standing water on roadways. That'll be possible through tonight. But then all that rain ends about 5 to 6 p.m. We're down to 43, quickly falling temperatures. So it'll kind of just depend on the next couple of hours how heavy that rain is, but we at least have some of those severe weather ingredients. Strong wind shear, not a lot of storm energy, but guys, you don't necessarily need that this late in the year.
All right, so make sure you're just staying weather aware as you're headed out today.
Yes.
All right, Savannah, thank you. Well, our team coverage on this Election Day continues as we keep you in the know all day long here on News 3 Now.
Josh Sprider is live downtown Madison talking with local elections officials. Hey, Josh.
Hey guys, good morning to you. Team coverage continues now on this Election Day. We're outside of the City County building. This is, of course, the election headquarters for both the City of Madison and also Dane County. And we have the Dane County Clerk live with us this morning, Scott McDonald. Scott, good morning to you.
Morning.
It's today. We made it here.
Finally.
Finally, right? I think a lot of folks have been waiting a long time for this day.
Yeah, the end of the ads is almost upon us, so.
How are you feeling going into Election Day?
Good. We're ready for today. I mean, I wish we had a little better weather, but otherwise, should be a good day.
Other than the rain, at least the temperature's not bad out
here. It's nice out. It's actually really nice out. So.
How have you been preparing for this day? Obviously, a lot of hours and time and effort has gone into this.
Yeah, the clerks have been putting in a lot of effort. We have a high number of absentee ballots, in-person absentee ballots, which takes a little more work. So that's something we've been spending a lot of time on. And yeah, but we're ready in general.
Any big differences you're noticing this election cycle versus 2020?
Well, yeah, I mean, in 2020 there was a pandemic, and we were kind of worried about everyone getting sick, and it was very stressful. This is definitely less stressful than that. I think we're returning to the pattern of people voting early in person, which was going on before 2020, before the pandemic. You saw a lot of it in 2016 leading up. Then people started voting by mail because of the pandemic. Now we're returning to that pattern. So that 2 weeks before the election, you know, we're going to see half the votes cast before Election Day, which means for voters who need to vote today, it should be a pretty quick time in line.
Any predictions as far as election turnout here in Dane County?
Well, I mean, it should be high. I mean, we'll probably be 80+% of registered voters, probably higher than that. And it's been, you know, just looking at the in-person voting, we should see record number votes in Dane County.
Obviously, we know Wisconsin's going to have a big impact, especially on the presidential election. How soon can folks expect results here tonight?
Well, you'll see some results on our webpage. When we get them, we post them. So some of the smaller communities will have it posted relatively early, like by 10 o'clock. You'll see some results. But because of all the envelopes that need to be opened and processed, that just is a slower process at the polls. Probably won't see a majority of the results from Dane County till midnight. Other places would probably be even slower. So, you know, I think it's going to be at 2 or 3 a.m. before we really know how Wisconsin voted.
It's going to be a late night. Election security an issue at all? You guys ready?
Yeah, I feel like we're prepared. We spent a lot of time on it, working with law enforcement, fire, EMS. So I feel we're in a pretty good spot right now.
All right, very good, Scott. Thank you so much for your time this morning. As always, we appreciate it. We know you're going to be very busy here today. And, of course, News 3 Now is your Election Day headquarters. We're going to have you covered with updates here live from across both Madison and the state throughout the night, guys.
All right, Josh, thank you so much for those updates. Election Day, it's here.
There we go. Coming up in the morning sprint, new trends in the sale of expensive booze.
But first, let's look who's 3 today. Happy birthday to Remy. Enjoy your day.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
When I was 27, I was diagnosed with MS. That's life-altering news. I had to prioritize my health and start taking medication. Back then, these cost $6,000 a year. Now the generics cost 5 times that. Senator Baldwin claims she's fighting to lower drug prices, but she's taking millions from Big Pharma and works for them. I'm not taking their money. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'll fight the corruption and lower drug prices because I've lived it.
Ready to embark on an exclusive journey into the lives of UW's top athletes? News 3 Now Sports Director Zach Hanley takes you inside Wisconsin Huddle, a one-of-a-kind 30-minute weekly special. It's more than just highlights. It's more than X's and O's. It's an inside look into the world of Big Ten college athletes, from their journey to Madison to insights on how they prepare for competition. Watch Wisconsin Huddle Friday nights at 6:30 on WISC-TV. Brought to you by TDS Telecom.
This is Good News Madison, brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Porchlight strives to reduce homelessness in Dane County by collaborating with the community to provide shelter, affordable housing, and supportive services that eliminate barriers and empower the individuals and families that we serve. Find ways how you can help our unhoused neighbors. Please visit porchlightinc.org.
And that is Good News Madison, brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
I know 20 of you and you're rich as hell. We're going to give you a tax cut?
I'm sick of these billionaires always getting the tax breaks while working people get screwed. Trump is a reverse Robin Hood. He wants to steal from the working man like myself and give it to the rich. Kamala has a plan to end price gouging and make life more affordable for working people because she fights for us. I'm Steven. I'm not rich as hell, and I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Get an 11% rebate right now at Menards. Seal your projects with GE Painters Pro Caulk. It's perfect for windows and doors, creating a durable, waterproof seal. A tube is $249 each after rebate. Cold weather is coming. Menards has the largest in-stock selection of insulated garage doors, ready for you to take home today. This insulated 9x7 garage door is $449.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Next January, one of us will be president. If it's Donald Trump, he will wake up every day and stew over his enemies list. That will help no one. If I am president, I'll be focused on my to-do list for you, the American people. I'll cut costs by cracking down on corporate price gouging, make housing more affordable, lower taxes for middle-class families, and protect Social Security. I will focus on getting things done. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message. Let's get to work.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I approve this message.
We found out our baby had severe fetal abnormalities and that my life was at risk. But Wisconsin Republicans' extreme abortion ban forced us to leave the state to get the care that I needed. It was a nightmare. Eric Hovde pushed to end Roe v. Wade. And in the Senate, Hovde would give Mitch McConnell the majority to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of women like me. What is wrong with these guys?
Forward Madison FC continues their playoff run. Tickets on sale now.
6:54, time for the morning sprint.
Polls open for Election Day in just 6 minutes. You must be registered in order to vote. You'll have to provide proof of ID as well. This can be your Wisconsin driver's license, military or school photo ID, or a passport. Wisconsin DMV locations are open until 6 p.m. You can request a free ID card, which you can use to vote.
If you're not yet registered to vote, you can still do so at the polls today. You'll need the proof of identity like we just laid out. You'll also need proof of residency. That can be a utility bill or a bank statement. Any official form with your name and current residential address will allow you to register today.
It's a snapback to reality for the alcohol industry. Inflation-weary customers are now pushing back on expensive booze, and it's hurting bottlers' bottom lines. Some of the world's biggest alcohol makers have recently reported declines in volumes or sales. Instead of buying pricey bottles, customers are choosing lower-priced items like beer and ready-to-drink canned cocktails.
News 3 Now and channel3000.com will have all your election coverage tonight. It starts here on WISC-TV at 6:30 with CBS News, and then at 7 o'clock, our all-local coverage of the elections will start on Television Wisconsin. And on Channel 3000 Plus, it'll be on throughout the evening, covering the races that matter to you. It's a historic night that we sure hope you join us for.
We're tracking alert day conditions that are still possible. The threat of strong to severe thunderstorms later in the day. That'll be mid-morning through the afternoon, mid to late morning through the afternoon. We went with an alert day yesterday for today because it's election day, and we do have that threat of seeing weak and brief tornadoes as well as strong and damaging winds. So just make sure that everyone has several ways to get watches and warnings. You can download the First Warn Weather app.
We have an urgent update from the Rock County Clerk. The polling location for the village of Footville has been moved to the Footville Church of Christ Fellowship Hall because of a unresolved fire code issue. So again, that polling location is moved in the village of Footville.
All right, so lots of moving pieces this election day. So
yeah, as if dodging the rain out there wasn't going to be enough today.
Yeah, you might want to have the rain gear handy if you are heading out early this morning and the afternoon.
All right, you heard it here. Savannah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're back in 30 minutes with a news and weather update.